Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics, Non-Classics. This is episode number 859 and Doubleshot number 753. Two X-Men trades, both part of the Epic Collection. Yep. This is X-Men Epic Collection, Volume 2, Loney and the Hunted. Collecting X-Men. Well, this is Uncanny X-Men, the original, the flagship title. Collecting issues 24 to 45, Avengers 53, and Brad Enoch 4 and 8. These issues came out from 1966 to 1968. Those of you who are curious, though, what are these books? They are a replacement for the Marvel Essential books. Yeah, they're pretty much the same length as the Marvel Essential books. The only difference is it's published in color instead of black and white. That's the only difference. They're pretty much the same length as the books. As a matter of fact, the issues printed here, I believe these issues were printed in Essential Classic X-Men Volume 2. Yes. Yes, they were. With these issues, you have the debut of the character Locus, who after this one issue disappears for 20 years. Doesn't reappear again until 1980s, where he popped up for a couple issues of X-Factor, and that's it. That's all was done with this character. Yeah, that was the last thing anybody saw from him. So yeah, no more of this character. And of course, we had the Factor 3 storyline, which was a great storyline. The only problem I had with the storyline was the villain himself, the Mutant Master. I mean, the way his dialogue went and his way he looked, I kind of thought this character was Magneto. Nope, it was just an alien. That was the only disappointing thing about the character, the Mutant Master, was the revelation he was just an alien. I'm like, seriously? With some of the dialogue he was spitting out, I'm surprised this wasn't really Magneto. Yeah, that could have been a good revelation here. I mean, at this point, it had been a good, I'd say about a year since his last appearance. Plus, also, we had a return of the Juggernaut, which at this point had been a good 2 years since he last showed up. Yeah, last time he showed up was back in Uncanny X-Men number 13. No, not 13. It was 14. Yes, 14 was the conclusion of a 3-part storyline that debuted the Juggernaut. Yeah, feature return, he's there for a few issues, and that's it. He gets written off and he gets go about the jail. He disappears. He actually goes off to another dimension. As far as I can tell, he does not as far as I remember, he doesn't reappear in this era. No, it takes him a long time. I think he does appear toward the end of this era before it goes to his reprint years. But yeah, he disappears for quite some time. Yeah, though for some reason they contact Dr. Strange, and of course, the one thing I love about Marvel at this point in time, they actually have editorial notes. Something that apparently I think a lot of Marvel comics should do nowadays. I mean, the only comic I can think of that was doing it recently was Peter Parker Spider-Man. I know that one was doing it. And I think Gold and Blue were doing it. But that's it. I think the current X-Men book, the one that's doing the disassembled one, yeah, that one is editorial notes, but a lot of other books, nope, can't be bothered to put editorial notes in there. Plus you have also the X-Men's first account with Spider-Man in issue 35, a crossover with the X-Men, which kind of does. This is the one thing I also like with this period of time was that Magneto fought more than just the X-Men. He also fought the Avengers several times over the years. His last and official time he fought the Avengers was actually back in the 80s. After that, he never fought the X-Men. He never fought the Avengers ever again after the 80s. After popping up for one issue of West Coast Avengers, that was the last time he appeared in the Avengers comic book as a villain. As far as I can think of, he has not, I mean, with the exception of his appearance from Avengers and X-Men Access, he hasn't really appeared as a villain for them. Yeah, of course with Magneto, this was actually his last appearance for a brief period of time. He was gone for a good couple years and came back toward the end of this era before disappearing and not being seen again until the Chris Claremont era. Yeah, fantastic set of issues, the grotesque character, and of course that the Charles Xavier happens here, though this is later retconned by Roy Thomas Wather. Yeah, I think that killing him off was probably his way of basically just leaving the book. He does go back to the book later to finish off this era. He's only gone from the book for a good year before he comes back. This is great, classic stuff, 10 out of 10. Next up is Epic Collection Volume 19. Issues came out in 1991. This book collects X-Men Annual 15, X-Factor 65 to 670, Uncanny X-Men 278-280, X-Men Volume 2 Issues 1 through 3, material from New Mutants and number 7 and X-Factor and number 6. Now, Chris Claremont writes a good majority of the stuff in here. He writes the first 2 of 3 issues of Uncanny X-Men. That's actually of a different writer. X-Factor for pretty much for issues 65 to 69. It's all co-written by him, along with Jim Lee and who was the other writer in here? It's Walter Pernico. Fabian DeCesar writes some of the stuff in here. He writes the New Mutant stuff, and he writes some of the stories from the annuals. And I think he does write briefly the issue of Uncanny X-Men. Yeah, but Peter Davis also lists as a writer in here. What does he write? He writes a final issue of X-Factor 70, which is meant to serve as an epilogue for the original era for the book and the start of the next era, which will pretty much take up the rest of that particular book from issue 71 to 149. Yeah. And of course, X-Men. Of course, I've covered those issues, reviewed those issues, thanks to reviewing X-Men Mutant Genesis 2.0, which is basically a recoloring and an update of those classic issues. Of course, we have the storyline, the Muir Island Saga, which, simply put, had the character Legion go to coma, and he remains in coma for a good 2 years until he starts the classic Age of Apocalypse storyline from the 90s. Also, thanks to, X-Men Volume Number 1, we had the debut of the most popular costumes, though Wolverine is wearing this awful orange and brown costume, which I've only heard one person I've actually know of who actually does like this costume. I personally don't care for the costume. I prefer the Jim Lee costume. I like that one. I like the John Cassidy one. Those two are good costumes. Heck, I even like his costume he had during the Paul Cornell run. I like that one too. Yeah. A lot of really good stuff in here. The X-Factor stuff really just ties up stuff with Apocalypse, because after it seemed like though right after these issues, because the original X-Men got moved back over to the regular X books, they apparently decided to take Apocalypse with him to the regular X books, and at that point he became regular X-Men villain for the next 10 years, on and off, of course, before he died in the year 2000, and then came back in 2006 thanks to events of House of M. Died again, and he was actually brought back just recently in his classic look. Not that Ultimate Future one, that doesn't count. So yeah, I'm glad the fact he's back. But this, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. Alright? Yeah. The thing with these Epic collections, unlike the Marvel Essential books, these books are actually released out of order. Yes, I'm not kidding about this. That's why this is Volume 19. The issues in here, most of them anyways, the exception of New Mutants 1 and the X-Factor, this is actually published originally in Essential X-Men Volume 11, which was the last Marvel Essential book associated with the X-Men, which for some reason, I don't know why they stopped there for. Yeah, this one along with Spider-Man reached 11. A lot of the other ones really, I think they got to 10, 6, maybe 8 of them. But this one, Spider-Man, the only ones to actually get to 11 before stopping. Yep. So, I do recommend getting these, despite the fact the original price of these are $35. But it's well worth it. You get a lot of story for one book. So yeah, that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for the next episode where I have 2 Avenger trades. You'll find out what they are in the next video, okay? But to see you there. Bye.